Hey, welcome everybody to, oh my God, look who's back. Tan, rested, ready.
Herrera. Am I really tan on this feed? I can't see. I'm in a lit room. I'm not used to that. So,
Yeah, where are
am
you?
am I tan?
You look okay.
Okay. I'm
Good
in.
hair.
I'm in. I'm in my. I don't know. What do you call it? Your little rec room?
That's not your me room. I see gold gloves behind you.
Yeah, this is kind of just a room.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
we got a new filming position. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. I don't know if this is efficient. I think it might be efficient.
No, it looks very, very nice.
Oh, okay. Well,
Looks
it's all
very
about appearance. It's all about lighting too. That's what
okay.
I'm told.
Well, it's about time you came back to your own
It's
podcast.
been a while, hasn't it? I'm getting DMs saying everybody in the world's on the Boone podcast except for you. And I
Were they
said, "Well,
complaining about not having you on the
shoot,
show?
it might have been like stay away. I don't know.
I don't know. We did pretty well. I did, by the way, volunteer for you to give away like 3 dozen T-shirts while you were gone.
Well, bring them in. I got a bunch. I got a bunch
Okay.
from the season, Texas Rangers colors. So
You know,
anyway, good to be back. I haven't been here. I
Flag.
might be a little rusty.
Yeah, I was going to say it might be your spring training just for this podcast. All right, so let's just get after it. Okay.
You got it.
Welcome back to your own podcast. Appreciate you. Let's get a couple things out of the way. How was it?
Interesting.
How so?
Not what you thought, not what I thought when originally I got the phone call from Bruce and to come back. You picture things as a player and what it was like for me as a player under my hitting coaches and the interaction and how we go about our business. Well, I think it's a generational thing. Each generation changes probably a little bit. It's definitely changed. There's a lot more available at your fingertips. The players today at their fingertips, a lot more access, a lot more people in the cage facilitating.
Well, so back when you played, one hitting coach.
We had one hitting coach, and it was, hey, you're vying for the time. It's like, hey, tomorrow I need to work a little bit extra. Well, now it's kind of carte blanche. It's like you can hit anytime you want. And I changed that a little bit. We took away, we didn't hit from 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. I think that was too much. But I learned as much as things change, that it's still about preparing. And I tried to reiterate that to my hitters all year. We can work on technique and mechanics till we're blue in the face, but it's all about preparing to compete at 7:00. That's what the game is. That's what it always has been. Yeah, you can reinvent the wheel all you want. It's still about the best hitters in the world competing with the best pitchers in the world at 7:00. And I say that every night because that's what separates baseball. It's every single day. And I think I've said this before, and I've shared it with you. I've shared it with a lot of people. It's almost like at this stage, you've got to prepare like you're a PGA Tour player, and you're in the middle of a 4-day tournament, and it's Saturday. This isn't a time to see how far I can rip my driver on the range. This is not to see if, I'm hitting my 7-iron a $185, and now I really want to hit it 200. No, it's Saturday, and I've got to play well to be a factor on Sunday. And that's what Major League Baseball is. It's not about practicing this perfect swing, which doesn't exist.
Nope.
It's about the mindset and the prep work to prepare to compete at 7:00 every single day. And your swing's not going to be there. You need to, as a hitter, you need to know where you're at. You need to have an A swing. You need to have a B swing, because the A swing's not going to be there. I'm sorry. I've
have
had
an emergency hack as well.
You have to, like a tour player, and I think it's the best scenario or the best comparison I can come up with is we know as I know as an amateur, as a golf being a hobby for me, I go into a round. I know if I've got my swing where I feel good and my body feels good and I'm hitting good shots, well, I can let it rip today. But then there's times where, man, I've just got to survive this round because I don't have it. And instead of blowing up and shooting 95, I kind of want to
You limit
figure it out so I can shoot 82.
Right,
Today,
you limit the damage. Okay, wait a second. Hold on a second. Before we do anything else, let's make sure we just put in proper context for everybody. Goes on in the clubhouse, stays in the clubhouse as far as the Texas Rangers go. Brett, you were the hitting coach for the Texas Rangers. We're talking in generalities now that you were back in the game in uniform. So we want to make sure they set those parameters as we have these discussions. Because if we talk about it, listen, you know how much I respect Bruce Bochy, future Hall of Famer. Congratulations.
absolutely.
He's now going back to work for the San Francisco Giants. CY is one of the smartest guys that you'll ever find in baseball. The guys you worked with, the great. You've got some hitters that just won a World Series not that long ago. So as we talk about this, let's just make sure everybody understands that we're putting this in the proper context. This is Bret Boone being out of uniform for a number of years, being back in uniform, actually
Correct.
being inside the clubhouse. So I want to make sure that we set those parameters before we go on, because you never know with these podcasts. Somebody's going to go, oh, did you see Bret Boone ripping into these guys? So I just want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about.
Well, yeah, and I'm not ripping into the players. It's
just the modern game of baseball.
It's the modern game of baseball. There's a lot, and like I said, I'm envious in a lot of ways of
what. Okay, so go there with me.
I'm envious in a lot.
What do you wish you had that these guys have that you didn't?
The access to the video that you have now is unbelievable. Everybody's, you've got an iPad and
in the dugout.
Absolutely. And it's, you take it to your hotel room. If I'll put myself back in my career, and it's like I was always just dying for as much intel as I could get. Who we facing tonight? How's he been pitching lately? I've got a history with him, but how's he pitching lately? What's he going to? Is he going to the cutter more than the two-seamer? Well, I have an iPad that has every single pitch he's thrown this year, and I can click on it, and it's right there. How about the bullpen? The bullpen's changed up a little bit, okay? 3 or 4 guys are on the IL, 3 or 4 new guys. I got a couple guys from AAA up here. What can I expect when they come in the game? I got it right here, and I can click on it. I can watch everything. We pull into a new city, and I got 4 days to watch 4 days of clips of these guys. I can watch in its entirety every pitch that every person on that roster has thrown. Wow, that makes me, now I'm ready. Okay, this guy's warming up in the bullpen. I've already watched him. I know what to kind of expect. I've never faced him before, but here's what he tends to do in this situation of the ball game. And you put it into the correct context. This is not me critiquing my players. No, these Texas Rangers.
This is modern. Okay, so
this Texas Rangers won the World Series 2 years ago. We had a lot of injuries this year down the stretch. We had a lot of young players come up with a lot of energy. We made a run at it late in the season. We got to within 1 game of the wild card, and then quite couldn't get it over the top. We were missing some key players. We're missing a Corey Seager. We're missing a Marcus Semien. We're missing an Evan Carter. 3 of our regulars were out for the last month and a half of the season. But the young kids that came up, the Freemans of the world, they really made a difference. They brought some energy, and they made it an exciting run. And in the end, it just wasn't enough. That's baseball. I've been on a lot of teams like that. Been on teams that made that run and got to the other side, got to the postseason, and got deep into the postseason. I've also been on teams that we were close, and right at the end, we needed to do this, and we quite didn't get the job done. So it was one of those. The experience, being back in uniform, was great. The kids, and I call them kids, but the players, they were wonderful. They were fun coming to the ballpark and interacting with. It's great getting their perspective. We had many talks with veteran players and then the young players today, and it was like, here's my advice. Here's the lessons I learned throughout my career, and then they give me their point of view. And it was something in the middle that was good for tonight's, our plan for tonight against this left-handed pitcher that we got on the mound tonight. So it was great. It was different than I thought it was going to be. It was a lot of hours in that cage. But I'll tell you one thing, Rich, it did is it kind of got that fire going again for me. And being in uniform, as tough as it is, living and dying every day with the hitters, because it's tough.
Right.
Man, at the end of the day, it's like, it was great misery, if that makes sense.
Well, you and I talked about it off the air, away from the podcast during the season, that I think you might have forgotten what it's like to lose every day or win every day, and how frustrating this game is.
Yeah, and I think, the one thing I said when I first got back in uniform was, there's one thing I can relate with you guys. There's not one thing, there's everything I can relate. I've been in every position you could possibly be in. I've been in the middle of magical seasons where everything's going great. I don't go in a slump. I've been on the other side of the ledger where I can't get on a hot streak and it's a long season. And then I've been in seasons in between where you hit your cold spots and you hit your hot spots. So anything you're doing in this game, any emotion you're feeling, I can definitely relate to it, because I've been on all sides of the coin. And I think players appreciated that part about it. It's,
Right.
I'll tell you, it got my juices flowing again. It made me, as much as it killed me when we didn't hit and we lost a game, and that feeling I have.
Right. And Bret and I would talk after those games. Fun.
It's way harder than playing.
Right.
It's way harder than playing, because I play, and I think I've used this scenario before. It's like when we win and the hitters do their job, it's almost like a relief. There's not joy. I mean, I'm not going to frown. I'm probably going to be smiling, but it's like it's a relief. Like, all right, we got through that one. When you lose, man, as a coach in 2025 on the field in the battle with these guys, it's like you go 0 for 5 every time you lost. And you didn't go 0 for 5. You left a runner at third base with less than 2 outs. You struck out twice in key positions. And it was like, there's no positive to winning. As a player, you have a different outlook. It's day to day. It's a 162 game grind. You're not going to win every day. Some days you're going to lose, and you're going to have an individually good day, and you're going to be able to sleep tonight. I went 2 for 4. We lost 6-1. Okay, it's over with. File that away. Let's go try to get a victory tomorrow. So as a player, it's a different feeling, a different perspective, a different outlook. Whereas a coach, you're just living and dying with every win and every loss.
All right. So somebody's going to want to ask this question. Would you do it again?
Absolutely. It's something, it's like I said, being back in uniform, it got the juices flowing. This is kind of in my DNA. I mean, baseball has been my whole life since probably 2 or 3 years old. That's all I've done. That's all my family's done.
Waking Ray Boone up with your catcher's gear going, come on, let's go hit.
Exactly. So it's just kind of, that's what I do, and this year with Bruce calling me, that my first, when I talked to the press, when I first got there, I said, what do you think? I said, this was not premeditated. This is the last thing I thought was going to happen on Friday. And here I am Monday in uniform again. And because it's where I'm supposed to be. Right. And at this particular time in my life, it's where I'm supposed to be. Now, Bruce has moved on. He just took a job with the San Francisco Giants, so he's not going to be a skipper this year. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be with the Texas Rangers this coming season, but I'm very active right now and trying to formulate where I'm going to be in what capacity in the game of baseball. Will it be in uniform again? Maybe. Maybe a front office. We'll see. And that's what the offseason's for, to kind of find out where I'm going to head. But definitely, I want to stay in the game. It's something that, getting that fire burning was something that I didn't know was even in there anymore. And down the road, I'd like to manage one day. And if that's in the cards for me in the next year or two, so be it. But I have that outlook of, I'll be exactly where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there.
So repeat that. What did you say? You want to manage one day?
I think so. I think that's the ultimate long term. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, I'd say I don't know if that's for me. Aaron's been doing it, and I see him going through that grind for the past 8 years. And until you get back in uniform, that was the one thing, Rich, that was interesting, because I'm, being a big brother of Aaron. And going through the years and having phone conversations with them during the season when they're going through a tough stretch. And I'd get off the phone and I think, wow, he takes it hard. And we're wired differently, Aaron and myself. But I just thought, man, he's got to take it easy on himself. Doesn't he know that there's only so much you can do as uniform personnel?
Right.
I put that uniform on. And the first time I saw Aaron, I had a conversation with him and I said,
You apologize?
Now I know. Now I know what you go through. And he laughed. He said, it's interesting being on the other side, isn't it? But until you actually go through it, you really can't put it in context for somebody that hasn't gone through it, you know. And you think you can. I have a lot of friends that have done this and gone back on the field after their career, and they'd explain it to me, and I'd say, yeah, whatever. It's really not that big of a deal. And then you put the uni on. Wow. It's a wake-up call. It was definitely a learning experience for me. And it's something that, you know, going forward, you know, I think I'm interested in doing.
Bruce Bochy. We've talked to him. He's been on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You said he's one of your favorite managers of all time as a player. But now
Yes.
you got a chance to see Bruce Bochy up close. We need to speak about Bruce Bochy with hushed tones because he is a lock future Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
You will be in Cooperstown. You will be there with him when he gets inducted. So the second time you went with Trevor Hoffman, I'm sure you'll be invited with Boch when he goes into Cooperstown. Now that you got a chance to work for him, you played for him, now you work for him. You got to see him up close every day. Why is he so special?
He's just Bruce. He's the same guy. And by the way, it was different. And I told him this. I said, Boch, this is different than playing for you, being your buddy at a golf event. Because I remember the first couple weeks, he snapped at me in the dugout. And I looked at him like, did you really just yell at me? And he did it with kind of a smile, but it was the heat of the moment. And I just thought, whoa, it's different. It's different being on a staff with my buddy than, but yeah, he's still everything. You know, he's got a way about. Bruce is a special man. He's a teddy bear. He's about as likable in a guy in that position that you can possibly be. And I played for a lot of managers, and Boch, just people that play for him through the years, you know, and he's been doing this for so long. You never hear a negative word about him from anybody.
Does he make it look too easy?
No, believe me, he's grinding behind the scenes. That
we don't see that.
Yeah, he cares a lot, and he wears it like the rest of us do. You know, it's kind of like you look at the pecking order, and you mentioned Chris Young, CY, who's the president of the Rangers, and I learned this a lot. He's got his pressures. You know, he's got to answer to management. He's got to answer to the owners.
Yeah,
Bruce. Right now, Bruce has to answer to CY. Why are we playing good? Why are we not? I have to answer to Bruce. What's wrong with my hitters? You know, that falls on me.
The biggest thing is you also have to be the buffer, because that cannot roll down into the clubhouse.
Absolutely. And I knew as a player,
you got to wear it.
As a coach, my job is to protect the players and keep them out of the minutia, out of what goes on behind the scenes. You know, from a coaching perspective, but when you're a player, you don't really think like you do as a uniform personnel, you know, and I had to kind of fall back, and I'd always go back. Okay, if I were playing right now as a hitter, how would I want my hitting coach to handle this? What is the best way for me to be successful? Sometimes it's not saying what you want to say in the middle of a game. Maybe that's a conversation for after the game. Maybe it's a conversation to
if they're teetering, you could put your thumb on the side and spin them.
My job is to get you to be ready, to give you the best chance to be successful in this next at bat as possible. And sometimes that means me shutting my mouth. And sometimes and sometimes it's me having a word of encouragement, giving them a little bit of a cue. But it's something that's not absolute. It's something that you learn as you go. It's interacting with people, with personalities, with different personalities. You have different conversations with different players. You know, a veteran player, I might have a certain talk before the game about said pitcher tonight. Okay. If I've got a veteran with 10 years in the big leagues and we're facing Max Scherzer as an example, there's a good chance that my hitter that day, has a lot of experience against Max Scherzer. So let's go over the game plan tonight. What have you been successful off Max? What has he been successful ways to attack you? Okay, let's find out the ways he's attacked you and been successful, probably how he's going to come at you tonight. So let's formulate that way. You've got a young player who maybe hasn't faced Max Scherzer tonight. And I use Max, like I said, I want to just let everybody know this is just an example. How are we going to go about it? What is your reputation? What have you done? What does the data say that you're doing well? How are you hitting 4-seam, 2-seam fastballs, breaking balls, curve balls, slurves?
Brett, let me jump in here with you. Can you get caught up in the paralysis of analysis?
I think you can too much. When the wheels started going too fast,
right,
I'd always go to simplify. Let me make this as simple as possible.
Isn't that life?
That's life. But you don't, sometimes you think you've got this experience and you've got this and you've been through this before and I'll handle this. And then I find myself on that wheel with the hamster going, I'm doing it too. Now I'm doing it. You know, I've had all this experience. I've been in the game this long and I'm not above getting caught on the hamster wheel. It's like, I've got to slow things down.
You don't realize you're on that wheel, do you?
Right. And I don't have to hit tonight. That's important. And I'd always say to my players when they had a question, what do you think? I said, player, background player. Brett's the background player. I'm not the important one. You're the important one. What's really satisfying about the job is when you see your players having success, when you see them interacting, right-handed hitters talking to other right-handed hitters on the bench, getting tells from the pitcher, hey, he likes to do this in this situation. The left-handers talking to the left-handed hitters or what they just went through in the box, because you never can tell. I can watch video till I'm blue in the face, but you never can tell what it's truly like until you step in that box. Wow, it's 2-seamers taking off more than the video looks. That fastball at 93, it's really playing like 95. Right. And there's nothing there's no way to replicate that other than being in the box. And at my age and my body, I can't get in the box anymore. So all I can do is give my best educated guess. But bottom line was, when push came to shove, when that hamster wheel got going too fast, my default was to go, all right, let's simplify, calm the situation down, and let's get ready for this next at bat.
Let me ask you a question. Dealing with the different hitters, different people, different personalities, is it like being Bret Boone, the dad? Because we've got Savannah, who's very opinionated, very strong, very driven. Sure. She's going to punch her way through any wall. There's nothing that'll ever stop your little girl. Then you got Jake, who's every parent dreams of having Jake Boone as their child, because he's smart, he's good looking, he's athletic, he's everything anybody could ever want in a son, and just smart as a whip. Then you have the twins, and the twins have their own personalities, and they go by their own drummer. They're a little bit younger, so they're from a different generation than the older kids. Is that what it's like when you're in a big league clubhouse now, where you've got veterans that have been there for 10 years and have a World Series ring, and kids that are just coming up that are still filling their way around?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I said it a lot of times throughout the course of the season. It's now I have 13 kids, and I'm pulling equally hard for every one of them, and they're all different, and they all what makes them tick is all different. That's my job, is to figure that out and try to push the right buttons. You don't always do it. You know, I felt a lot of failure this year with, man, maybe I could have done this wrong and given him this advice versus what I said. Maybe I said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Maybe I said the right thing at the right time. But it was definitely a learning process. And that's why this game, and it's the greatest game in the world, and you never stop learning. And this year, this summer was an example of, you think you know it all, and then you just, your ego gets smacked down like you don't know anything. The coaching staff in Texas was great. They were very welcoming, and I remember walking into the clubhouse in Boston and meeting all the guys, and as the season went on, and now we're months into it, and it's, you know, my third month, and, you know, I'm riding to the ballpark with player or with coaches and Bruce, and they'd kind of on occasion just look at me and smile and go, "You had no idea, did you?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "What
Go
were you
back to your
thinking?"
podcast.
He said, "What were you thinking when?" I said, "What were you guys thinking when I walked into the room in Boston?" And they just started laughing. They said, "He has no clue what he just walked into." And they were right. And they were right. And that's like I said, being on the other side of that curtain, you don't know exactly what it is till you get there. But baseball's still baseball, and it's the greatest game in the world, and it's
All
gonna
right,
be
let's move
part of my
along.
life forever.
Hey, listen, this is your spring training. Let's move along real quick. How many people asked about our podcast?
Oh, I had all the boys. They're all wearing it. Jock Peterson's wearing the podcast shirt for batting practice. Simeon would wear it. He said, "Boonie, we got to score 7 runs. If we score 7 runs, I'll wear your podcast shirt tomorrow." And sure enough, we score 7. I'd show up, and he'd walk into my office, into the coach's room with his shirt on, and go, "I got it on." And and it started being a joke at the end of the year. We'd get to 6 runs or 5 runs, and I said, "We got 5 runs." I'd point at Simeon and go, "We got 2 more to score. 2 more to score for the shirt." He goes, "Yep." Some days we'd make it, some days we weren't. But they were. A lot of the guys were wearing the shirts. A couple of the coaches on the coaching staff would wear the shirts. And I kept telling, it was funny because guys would come up to me, "You've never given me a shirt." I said, "Listen, when you've got a podcast shirt with the picture of yourself on it, I don't walk around and hand them out. That would be a bit over the top egotistical. Now, if you like the shirt and you want to wear it, I'd be happy to give you one, but it's not something you force on people. Go, wear my face on your chest. But if you want to, hey, I'm happy to accommodate."
Did you like the way the people described you? Bret Boone, new hitting coach for the Texas Rangers, former podcaster. What experience does Bret have? He's a podcaster. I love that part.
Yeah, it's funny.
Because they're trying to decide whether they're going to hire me or you to be the hitting coach. Since
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
podcast.
Exactly. No, it was kind of funny, and the players gave me some crap about it, and I kind of liked it. I mean, because right now at this stage of my life, yeah, I've been in the game my whole life, but at the current time when I was asked to come step in, that's what I was doing. I was a podcaster, so the shoe fits, wear it.
Bret Boone podcaster or Bret Boone, Aaron's brother?
Yeah, Aaron's big brother. Yeah,
Aaron's big brother. All right.
These are realities of life.
The realities of life. Well, I'm glad to have you back on the podcast. Real quick, because we're running up on time. World Series. You tweeted out something, how much you love this World Series.
Yeah, because when the season ended, and as a player, I would do the same thing. If I wasn't in the postseason, I kind of wouldn't really watch what was going on. Yeah, I'd keep one eye open and just check out, what's going on with the playoff series. And this year, being back in uniform, coming home, it was kind of a detox for me. Like, I just kind of want to get away from the game. And yeah, I was paying attention a little bit to what was going on, but I would sit down and plan, I'm going to watch the game tonight. You got to that World Series. I found myself being at home to watch the World Series. It was that good. And it wasn't necessarily the offense or the pitching. It was the combination. It was unbelievable plays at unbelievably important times in the game. And it seemed like you'd have one play that was, it's always a game of inches, but you'd have one play that was unbelievable in a particular situation to save a run to move it on to another extra inning. And usually you get one of those a series. And there was like 10 of them.
Right.
So I remember as a kid watching the 1980 World Series when the Phillies and Kansas City Royals played, and Dad was on the Phillies, and he ended up winning that World Series. In my mind, that was the greatest World Series ever in my lifetime. I'll tell you what, I was watching this series this year. It's one of the best. I've been pleasantly surprised with the new formula, the new schedule of postseason. I really think, from a fan's perspective, has been really good. Podcasts, we've covered them in the past 3 or 4 years in the postseason, and they really have been very entertaining. But I think this year kind of took the cake, as it's one of the best 7-game series I've ever seen. And I think that was after a very exciting buildup to that World Series. I saw the Seattle Mariners, which were one of 2 teams that really caught my eye this year in my travels playing against Seattle Mariners. I thought that's a really good team. Philadelphia Phillies were another one. They got banged up a little bit at the end. They didn't make it deep into the postseason. But this Toronto Blue Jay team, we faced them in September in Toronto. And I remember walking away from the series. I think they beat us 2 out of 3. And I remember thinking, that's a pretty good team. I don't think they're as good as the Seattle Mariners. I don't think they're as good as the Philadelphia Phillies. But that's a pretty darn good team right there. But they've got something special. They've got an aura about them. They had a way about them. When they took the field, they kind of knew they were going to win. I've been on teams like that. And it's nothing you can fake. It's nothing you can premeditate. You either have it or it's that it factor. And that Toronto Blue Jay team, this particular season, a lot of great players. This particular season had that it factor. So they got to the Seattle Mariners series, and I thought, that Seattle team, they just got too many weapons. Toronto beat them. Then they got to the Dodgers, and I thought, that Dodgers roster is just too deep for this Toronto Blue Jays team. They took them to Game 7, and I started thinking, maybe this is a magical year for the Blue Jays, and they're going to win it. And the way it ended, of course, it had to go down to extra innings, Game 7, with a lot of crucial plays getting him to that position. In the end, the Dodgers ended up winning, but what a series. Like I said, one of the best, not just World Series I've ever seen, one of the best 7-game series I've ever seen in my lifetime.
All right. Now Bret's back. We'll go back to doing this podcast on a more regular basis, although I'm leaving today, Bret.
Yeah, here you're big time. You're going to Italy.
I'm going to Italy for 2 weeks on vacation.
Well, enjoy, Rich. Enjoy.
You want to do the podcast? Do you want me to do the podcast from Italy?
Yeah, we might. You never know.
I'll bring my laptop. We can record the podcast from Italy.
Yeah. I'm a week out. I haven't set up the schedule.
Okay. Let us know. Well, folks, we said we were going to hold the podcast together while Bret was back in uniform. We did it. Thanks to everybody at Odyssey who's helped us keep this thing going. It's been fun. We're going to continue to do it. That was a big question everybody had, but nope, we're in this for the long haul. We'll continue. And Bret, I'll just tell you this. I think everybody that I talked to is around the podcast. As much as I love working with you doing this, you are back where you belong in the game of baseball. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to hold down this podcast for a little while longer. And we'll just have to work it out for your next contract that we'll continue to do this show. I'll hold down the fort as much as I can, but it was great to see you in uniform. It was great to see you back at the game. It was great to see you sharing the experience that you learned from Ray and Bob and Aaron and everybody else back in this game. And if we could take a little bit of what you did on the field this year in Texas, and we continue to do, that's what makes this podcast so special. We're gonna be just fine giving people some new insights after what you went through this year.
You got it, Rich. I appreciate it. It's good to be back. A little rusty, but
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a scouting report on you. We'll ask people to chime in to see how you did.
Bret Boone, podcaster, love it, love it.
Podcaster, you know what? You need to clear your hips a little bit more.
Okay, I can work on that.
We're hunting for fastballs, Sean Casey.
Oh, come on. We don't hunt.
Casey was good when he came on.
Sean's always he's been great for.
The mayor was great. The mayor was great. Leiter was fantastic.
You had Michael Francis on.
Oh, that was tremendous. By the way, I stole some of that and used it on my radio show here in Virginia. So that was good. So anyway, for all of us here at the Bret Boone podcast, glad to have you back, Bret. And we will see you next time, everybody.
You got it.